Hi, I'm Ben. I'm a home inspector, and we're going to inspect this house. But I've asked my friend, Michael Szeto, to help us perform an inspection. Every home should be inspected by a certified home inspector. Why? Well, we want to find problems when they're small before they become too big to fix ourselves. And every home should be inspected so that our homes are safe, functioning, and healthy. So come with us and let's do an inspection. But first, let's meet Michael.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Mike.
How's
How
it
are
going?
you?
Good to see you.
Michael Szeto.
Yep.
No place like home.
No place like home inspections.
Awesome. Mike, you are a North Carolina licensed home inspector.
Yep.
And you are an internationally certified home inspector.
Yep.
And you're a certified master inspector.
Yes.
That means you're one of the best of the best.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to be.
Yeah. And where do you perform inspections in North Carolina?
We do pretty much the county. Wake County, we call them the Triangle area.
Triangle.
Raleigh, Chapel Hill, Durham.
Yeah.
Surrounding, because the last, I wouldn't say like 10 years, it's been growing so much.
Yeah.
It's been overfill our city, so we do a lot of small town outside of it, like Cary, Apex, Holly Springs.
So you'll travel
Fuquay,
around.
I mark my territory as 1 hour from my house, but
Yeah.
1 hour can get me to a lot of places.
Yeah.
So we have done some like up north, like Henderson,
Sure.
almost like to the Virginia border.
And you're a multi-inspector group.
Yes, we are.
We have a bunch of inspectors.
3 other inspectors plus me, so we have 4 of us doing inspection. I have some other admin personnel as well.
So this is a typical home that you do.
Yep.
One inspector goes out and does it, but sometimes you'll do a mansion,
Yep.
really big.
So if we do like anything above 4,000 to 5,000 square foot, we do teamwork, like, a couple inspector on it. So it's, for me, it's like I want to take care of my buyer as a client, and sometimes I want to be considerable with the seller as well.
Yeah.
I'm not going to kick someone out for 5 hours for doing an inspection.
Yeah.
Where they're going to go if they have small child and a dog?
Right.
Where they
You
go?
don't want to spend all day.
I don't want to spend all
Right.
day to do the inspection. So
How long does a typical home inspection take for you?
about 2.5 to 3 hours
Yeah.
for a size of like a like 2,000 square foot to 2,500 square
And
foot.
at the end of
houses.
the inspection, you provide your client's report?
Yep,
of some
correct.
kind? What software do you use?
We use a Spectora.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
and
one of the
you use
best.
tools and,
My
cameras
Spectoras,
and
everything
phones?
is on the phone. So
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, just have them strapped on under my neck as I go. Take a picture if I
Yeah.
see anything, and just put it on the report. And then by the end of it, we'll send the report out.
You do home inspections and other services?
Yeah, we do like radon testing, termite inspection. The termite license is very hard to get in North Carolina. You have to do apprenticeship for 2 years. So we subcontract out to other subcontractor, but we're trying to do a one-stop shop. We do termite, radon, sewer scope. We do water testing, so on and so on.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything you need to know about the house, we do them.
Well, we're going to do a home inspection here.
Yep.
What do you usually do first when you pull up to a house like
So
this?
usually I go in, kind of look around, get a feel of what I'm getting myself into in the house. Go in there, turn everything lights on, and turn the dishwasher on and check everything.
Okay.
Open the door.
Or
Let's
can I
go.
follow you around?
Absolutely.
All right,
Come
let's
on in.
go.
Yeah. First thing first, always doorbell.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Got to do that.
There you go.
Should we pop the shoes off?
Yeah. Open all the doors, just trying to check everything.
So this is a vacant house.
It is a vacant house.
So it's easier to get around and see things.
Absolutely.
But
you
you
see
want
100% of everything.
You want to. You're right now. You're just trying to get the lay of the land.
Absolutely.
So
I'm
to
not
speak.
doing inspection. I just want to kind of get a feel of what I see, how many components I have.
Okay.
How many like HVAC system I'm dealing with, and water heater.
Yep.
Does the house have like all the kitchen appliances and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not inspecting, but at the same time I'm observing.
Right.
I want to say I'm observing.
Yeah.
So and then I go into detail when I do the inspection and check everything.
It's a first floor bedroom.
First floor bedroom.
Yep.
Everything good.
Yep.
Bathroom.
Are you running water at the bathrooms or just
Not now.
Not now.
Yep. When I do
But
the
eventually.
inspection, eventually,
Yeah.
I will probably turn one on because a lot of time that you want to see if you have water service to the house.
Sure.
And number one thing is like if the water shut off, you never do the plumbing test. You don't turn anything on.
Right.
Same thing with electrical, gas.
Yeah.
You don't turn them on.
Yeah.
For liability reasons.
So wherever that main water valve is.
Yep.
if the water was off. That would be an inspection
I would
restriction for
probably,
you.
yeah, I would probably call the clients and
Get permission.
just get permission,
Yep.
or like get someone to come and turn it on.
Yeah.
And sometimes like when it's the water meter shut off
Yep.
and it's from the city, you don't want to turn
Right.
it on because you might get in trouble.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yep.
And who knows?
Yeah.
You don't know what has been going on in the house.
Absolutely.
So like maybe there's some plumbing upstairs, and if you turn something on,
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah.
starting.
We have a real story
showering.
that the water shut off, and then we have the plumber. The seller had a plumber come in and turn it on, and then as soon as you turn it on, the whole kitchen was flooded. Because
Really?
One of the pipe, the fitting was not connected right.
Yeah.
And it just flooded the whole kitchen out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yep. So like we check dishwasher. We get because dishwasher will take about an hour, so I'll go ahead and run about an hour.
You'll do that first right
now.
now.
I'll do that first right now, and then occasionally I'll come back here and see if there's any leak.
Sure.
Once it's a leak, I'll just stop it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Once a dishwasher leaks, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So
That's the garage.
and then that's the garage door. We'll
Okay.
go in there.
And there are other systems in the garage.
Yep, there's
like
system, the
panel?
electrical panels here, water here. So those are mental notes that
Okay.
I know exactly where everything is.
Yep.
And while I'm seeing here, just make sure all the breakers are on.
Yep.
And I'll go ahead and test the AFCI breaker as well too.
Okay, what's an AFCI?
AFCI is art fault circuit interrupter.
Yeah.
So they're sense the current, the heat inside the wire. If
Yeah.
there's anything, it's a protection for your.
It's
for
a
the
safety
wire inside.
device that's in the panel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you're testing it. Do
Yep.
homeowners? They can do that as
They
well.
can do that as well too. Technically, they should test them once a while.
I know, but no one
nobody
does.
really tests them.
It's like a
And
smoke
same
detector.
thing with the GFCI. Yep. Same thing with the smoke detector.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to touch them until they chirp at you.
Yeah, that's right.
Put
That's
the
right.
battery and stuff. And usually when they chirp at you, they don't put new battery in. They just take the whole thing off.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
not good.
It's very, very dangerous.
And so AFCIs, they're
Yep.
probably protecting a lot of receptacles in the bedrooms. and
Yep. Right
dining
now they're
rooms.
required, like bedroom, living room,
Yeah.
mostly bedroom, hallway,
Yeah.
and all that. They're all AFCI.
And the other one is a
protected.
GFCI.
The GFC, the ground fault circuit interrupter.
And that's a different kind of safety
Yep,
device
they
that should
are
be tested.
like anywhere the
Okay.
outlet near the water.
Water.
pretty
Yeah.
much.
Okay. Cool.
So that's one thing that I do check. Make sure the staircase is very important for safety.
Yeah.
You want to have one switch control on the bottom and the same time on the top also control that light, because if you're going up the stairs, you turn it on, turn it off, and then when you get up to the top of the stairs, you can turn it back off.
Yeah.
So it is a safety thing. So that's one thing that I check. So now I'm turning it off.
That's actually a code requirement
is.
too. But
Absolutely.
home inspectors are not code
We don't-
inspectors.
I don't say code.
No,
Code.
no.
CODE is forbidden for us.
Right. But it's kind of like
Absolutely.
one of the things that you check.
Absolutely. That's
like
one of the
building
things that I check.
standards.
Yeah,
best
during
practices.
the initial walk, that I do check some of the light just to make sure
Yeah.
they're working what it's supposed to.
Yep.
So when we get to the top of the staircase, we flip them on. So
Yep.
now you have lights again.
Yep.
So they're a three-way switch. They're working properly.
Yeah.
Yep. Bathroom. I usually turn off all the fan just to make sure the ventilation in the
Yep.
bathroom is great.
Yep. And laundry.
Laundry. Yep.
Do you turn on the clothes washer and dryer?
It depends.
Yeah.
Sometimes for new construction, even though they have in here, most likely they're not hooked up. Like I said, we
Right.
don't plug anything in, we
Yep.
don't turn anything on.
Yeah.
If it's readily accessible, it's all hooked up and set up. I usually will
cool.
run a small cycle
Okay.
for both dryer and the washer.
Yeah.
And if there's any personal item in there, I do not run them.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's liability.
Yeah. Usually the movable appliances are gone.
Yeah, usually, yeah.
Because you have one client moving in,
Yep.
but somene's moving out and they're
Yep.
taking things. They could
Yeah.
even take the refrigerator.
Same thing with refrigerator. Yep.
Yeah.
They're not built-in appliances. That's what they call them.
Yeah.
And then we have one more bedroom. It's
Okay.
the master.
Okay.
And then we'll start our inspection.
This house doesn't have a basement.
No, it does not have a basement. It's a slab foundation
Yeah.
house. In North Carolina, we do have different type. Basements start getting more popular now because people from up north, or out west, they used to basement.
Yeah.
And they come to North Carolina, they want basement. So basement is a really hot ticket, like everybody wants it. But mostly are crawl space and slab construction in North Carolina.
That's neat. Where I came from in the Northeast, every house has a basement.
It's basement, yep, absolutely. Or every house had a leak basement.
Yeah, yeah.
that need a home inspector.
That's right.
To look at.
Basements tend to leak water. So you got the lay of the land. Did I see an attic access? We'll be heading on up.
Yep, we'll be heading on up after probably towards my end of my inspections.
Okay.
Typically. Yep. Because I like to check everything from the top to the bottom.
Okay.
All right.
At this stage, is a client moving around with you, or do you ask them to show up maybe a little bit later?
Usually,
What do you do with clients? Do
I
they
don't discourage my client not to come
Yeah.
the whole time. If someone wanted to be here
Yeah.
3 hours with me,
That's a lot.
Someone's spending $500,000 buying a house, I don't want to say no.
Right.
But if I have a preferable way is come in the last 30 minutes, I'll give you a walkthrough.
Yeah.
But if they want to come at the beginning, like on the inspection, I just tell them like, hey, I'll answer, just if you have any questions, just write it down.
Yeah.
I'll answer your question at the end.
Yeah.
And I don't want to miss anything.
Yeah.
Because
you pretty much have to focus a little bit.
Yeah, home inspector, we have a routine, right? So it doesn't matter what your routine, each home inspector, they either doing from the outside and go work their way in.
Yep.
And then when you go into the room, you inspect from right to left, left to right. So there's a routine. So if you break that routine, we could miss something.
Yep.
So I kind of explain that to the client a lot.
That's a great idea. Great idea. Okay, so what's
All right,
next?
let's
Are we
head
back
on out.
outside?
We're gonna do the roof and exterior.
Okay.
We start on the roof.
Yeah.
I don't climb. I'm
Okay.
scared of height, so I use a drone.
Yep.
But sometimes, like when there's a low pitch, like ranch house,
Yeah.
I do like to climb on it.
Okay.
Especially when it's rain. When
Yeah.
it rained the night before, I
Yeah.
don't usually walk it.
Yeah.
But most of them, like a 2-story high, we use a drone.
Yeah.
But the drone that we use is you can zoom in and you can see quite a bit. So
The standards of practice does not require a home inspector
To walk.
on the roof.
Absolutely.
But you have to inspect it.
Absolutely.
Or if you can't see it, disclaim it that you didn't see it
If you
at all.
can't see it, usually some people they don't do fly drone and they don't walk the roof. They use
Yeah.
a binocular.
Yeah.
I use actually both. I use the drone to look it from the top view.
Yeah.
And then when I'm inspecting exterior, I'll usually on the bottom use a binocular
Yeah.
to see
Yep.
any lift the shingle.
Yeah, for
from
sure.
The bottom. Yep. So
Do you
let's,
wanna,
grab
are
my
we
drone.
gonna fly the drone?
Yeah, we're gonna fly the
Fantastic.
drone.
All right. I'll stay here.
All right.
the
So
other
yeah,
side.
this is my drone. It's a DJI Maverick Zoom.
Yeah.
I chose this version because it has a zoom feature.
Yeah.
So you don't have to. I run into a tree a couple of times. So having a zoom feature, you don't have to fly so close.
Right.
And then you can just zoom right in.
And it's like
We can show
4K.
you. It is a 4K.
Video and pictures.
Yep, absolutely. So,
And DJI is a very popular one.
yeah, they're
This
one
is not a
popular one.
mini one. I've got a
No.
mini one. This is something bigger.
This is bigger.
Yeah.
This is
That's fantastic.
yeah, this is the pro version, but it's a zoom feature, a pro version of it. So
Does it have sensors like it knows where it is?
Yeah, it'll beep.
Mine doesn't. No, you can run
It'll
right into
beep,
a tree.
Yeah, it'll beep at you like
Yeah.
crazy. So
Yep. And are you FAA?
yes, you just have to get a certification through FAA.
Yep.
Being an unmanned UA.
Yeah, that's
UAS,
right. UAS, yeah.
and-
Yeah, you got a pilot license,
Yep,
essentially.
I know.
Yeah.
It was pretty hard. Yeah, I think everybody need to know the rule of the airspace and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
So the control has the software, and it
Yep.
gives you all these signals about
Absolutely.
satellites and
Yep.
also zones that you're
Yep,
in.
correct.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
it will
before
tell
you
you
even
all that.
take off,
Yep.
you know where you are.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay. So I'll get
All
out of the
right.
way. All right. So what are you doing first?
So I do a section at a time.
Yeah.
Typically, I take about 80 pictures for the whole entire roof, just section by section,
Really?
so I can review it on my device.
Yeah.
And I can zoom in and all that.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So yeah. So
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
I thought I took a lot of pictures. That's a lot of pictures.
I would say like typically a whole full home inspection, we take about 200 and 250 pictures. We
Yeah.
store them away.
Yeah.
We can use that for reference.
You don't
for
put
our
them
client.
all in the report.
No, we don't
Yeah.
put them all in the report.
just
yeah,
too
we
much.
just keep it in a file.
Yeah.
I have a Dropbox. We just put everything in the
Sure.
Dropbox, and 2 years later, the client want to say like, hey, do you have a certain room picture?
Yeah.
And we can give it to them.
Yep.
Yep.
So what is your typical process here? Front, back?
Yep,
or-
front, like the lower roof first.
Okay.
And then we will check all that lower roof and
Okay.
just check on the shingle, check
Yep.
on the flashing,
Yep.
where they connect. That's mostly if there is any roof leak
Yeah.
inside a house that caused by the roof, it's between the flashing
At the
and
flashing.
the shingle. A lot of
Like
times.
where the roof meets something else.
Exactly.
There's
Yep.
something
The
there.
siding, yep.
That's flashing
Yep.
areas.
The
Yeah.
flashing area, the
Yeah.
metal piece. Yep.
Yep.
So.
And you're looking for what else? Like shingles that are missing?
Yep,
Shingles
shingle
that are cracked?
missing, damaged,
Yep.
cracked,
Okay.
or any deficiency, or sometimes they just flew off.
Yeah.
It could happen.
This is
Even new construction too.
This is a common shingle, like a
Yep.
3-tab shingle.
These are 3-tab shingle. Yep.
And so those tabs,
they can.
if they're not
they don't
adhered,
glue down. Yep.
yeah,
yep,
they could be
adhered,
flopping.
Properly. They can
Okay.
they can lift up.
Yep.
High wind just gonna take it right off.
Yep.
So we also check the kick-out flashing.
okay.
So that's where we're seeing right now. There's
Yeah.
a kick-out flashing right here.
Right.
Just to make sure there is a kick-out flashing, make sure they install it correctly.
And so if it's a missing kick-out flashing area,
Mm-hmm.
do you call it a defect? Or a recommendation?
I do a recommendation.
Or something
yeah,
to monitor?
Yeah, it's a lot of time it's not required. Depends on manufacturer installation guideline. But as a home inspector, we always recommend it. Doesn't matter what type of cladding it is.
Yeah.
Stone, brick.
Yeah.
But some of the contractor, they don't believe the brick need to have a kick-out flashing.
So that kick-out flashing is shaped like my hand, and it
Yep.
kicks out
Exactly.
the water
Exactly what
away
it
from the
sound like.
siding
Yep.
into the gutter.
Exactly. Like they just wanna get it away from the siding, because
Yeah.
if you constantly have rainwater dumping rainwater on the siding,
Yep.
and especially stone too, if the mortar get deteriorated, you have a pinhole, water can get in.
Yeah.
Water just gonna ruin everything behind it, and
Behind
you don't
it.
see it until it's
too late. It's too late.
Too late.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a really good inspection tip.
Yeah.
Always look for that
Yeah.
flashing.
The kick out flashing. Yeah.
And
So-
homeowners don't really know about that kind of stuff. So
No.
you're really an educator.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You have to explain these complicated things like kick-out flashings to
Absolutely.
homeowners.
Yep.
Yeah. You see anything?
Nothing.
No?
It's actually a pretty good roof.
Yeah.
I like to look at the valley, and
Yeah.
just to make sure, because the valley is the most, when it rains, most of the water travel
Yeah.
on the valley, and the valley is the most important part. So we just want to make sure all the shingles are in good shape.
Yeah, where
in the
two
area.
planes come together.
Absolutely. Yep.
Wow, you've done this before.
Yep. I don't look up.
You really don't?
No, I just looking at this.
You're very close too.
Yeah,
That's
and
like-
then also, like, I
few
don't know
feet
if you
away.
can see my screen. It's
Yeah.
also tell you how far away from your back,
Right.
and how far away from the front.
Yep.
Usually, if I fly in too close, it'll tell me that. If
Yep.
I'm really close, it'll beep at me supposedly.
Yeah. Or
this
it'll
time
tell
of
you
day. Yep.
something in red. I
Yep,
can see.
absolutely.
So there's
So-
green and red.
Yep.
It's sensing
Yeah,
where it is
in yellow.
in space.
Cautions. Yep.
Yeah.
And then on the left side, we're looking at this flashing right here, just
Yeah.
to make sure all the nails is glue. They have cover the sealant on.
Yep.
Because nails, if you don't have the sealant on, they can rust, and rust will expand the hole, and water can get in and
Yep.
cause water damage.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you're a homeowner and you have flashing, sometimes that metal flashing is fastened with a nail.
Yep.
All those nail heads are
They can
potential
get weared
water.
off too. It's a maintenance item too,
Yeah.
so it can get weared off. You're
Yeah.
you probably want to get it checked out every 5 years or so.
Yeah. By a home
And-
inspector.
By a home inspector.
That's right.
With a drone.
Not by a roofer. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yep, by a
not
home
saying anything
inspector.
about roofers, but
Absolutely.
home inspectors are like a trusted
Yep.
home consultant.
And then on the back side is mostly where all the venting is.
Yeah.
You have, those are the typical, that's your furnace.
Yep.
Those square one is for the bathroom.
Yep.
The plumbing stack, which is your plumbing, you need to have at least one for each home.
Yep.
To have the vent, all the plumbing, sewer, gas.
Yep.
And then you also have the little square one, they typically are
Yeah.
dryer.
And all of these are parts of the house systems,
Absolutely.
but they're coming up through
Yep.
the roof.
Absolutely.
They're penetrating the roof. The roofer cuts a hole in the roof and puts the thing.
Exactly.
So that has to be flashed and
Yep.
sealed
and then have
installed.
a boot properly, and those
Yeah.
are the things that we check and make
Yep.
sure they flash them properly.
Yeah.
Yep. Overlapping and stuff
If
like
there's
that.
going to be a leak, it could be from one of those
Absolutely.
areas.
Because you have a hole in the roof.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Michael, we've been flying the drone. You've been inspecting the roof.
Yep.
Do you see any problems?
I don't
with
see
the
any
roof?
problem. This is actually a pretty good roof.
Okay.
And I don't see any issues. The flashings are good. Gutters are
Gutters
good.
are clean.
Yep.
That's
gutters
one
are
of the
clean.
things that a drone can do.
Yep. Yep.
You can run right along the length of the gutter.
Absolutely.
And take a look to
just
see.
try to make sure, yep. And sometimes I kind of see how the pitched as well too.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that gutter pitch towards the
That's right.
downspouts.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the gutter is going to overfill with water and not function as intended.
And you can do that with a drone very easily.
Absolutely.
There's
just
so many advantages.
Level it up and then just kind of see it. Now we finish up
Yeah.
and we're gonna bring it up. I like to. This is like, you know, for my clients.
Yeah.
I like to take a couple
You're
pictures.
going high.
Going high.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on about 200, about 250.
Okay.
250 feet
Yep.
high up and do a overview
That's fantastic.
for the neighborhood.
Yep.
And then
That's
and
really cool.
I'll give a little video for the buyer, just let them excited about what kind of neighborhood they're in.
That's right.
Yep.
They have a unique perspective.
Absolutely. So.
That is a cool shot.
Yep. And then we'll fly back down.
Okay. Bring on home.
Now
Okay, so now you've got a chip in there.
Yep.
How do you convey that information?
So
to
I
your
have
clients?
memory cards in here that recorded or actually capture all the pictures that I took while I'm doing the inspection. So I just take that out, put it in my phone, and review it. I can review it here on site, or I can review it at home when I'm finished.
Yeah.
But most of the time I review it on site.
And you have software that can handle that video. So
Yeah.
that video will be in, and the pictures will be in the...
Well, the software probably, the file was pretty big.
Oh, okay.
If I have any video. That's
Okay.
why I like to have a still picture most of the time.
Oh, okay.
So I can put the picture
Great.
in the report if I needed to.
Yeah.
So all I have to do is plug it right in and then import it to my phone.
And that becomes part of the information that you can share with your client.
Absolutely.
That's excellent.
So yeah, I have all
Cool.
this video on
There
the
it goes.
backside. So
Pack that up
This way?
and then we'll keep going.
Now keep going, yeah. So now we'll finish the roof.
Yep.
We want to look at the exterior.
Okay.
I usually like to step back a little bit, look at the big picture.
Right.
If I see anything, I use a binocular. I have
Yep.
a lot of tools in my tool belt.
Yep.
I call this my exterior pouch.
That's right.
You see all these leaves underneath.
Yeah, that's your exterior.
So that's a battle scar.
Yeah.
And I have one that carried me all the time. I have flashlights, outlet tester, screwdriver, moisture meter, and all that.
Yep.
And I also have a drill
For the
electrical panel.
Okay.
Yep. So
For the outside.
yeah, so I look at the big picture.
Yep.
Sometimes when you step back,
Yep.
you can see a little bit better.
Okay.
And then if you see something, I'm looking at the left side, top left corner. I don't know if you follow me.
Yeah,
There's
that's
the one with
siding.
the siding,
Yep.
right? So I want to kind of get a closer look. I use a binocular.
So the siding's not lining up.
Yep, they're not lining up.
Part of it is
It might be
hanging down a little
loose.
bit.
Yep, they might be not aligned properly. If you don't align properly for a vinyl siding, that could cause water intrusion.
Yep.
So I explain to all my clients, your siding is actually your clothes. If you have
Yeah.
a hold on your clothes, you're
Yeah.
gonna get cold, you're gonna
That's
get hot, you're gonna get rained on.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure your clothing
Yeah.
it's in a proper install. They're all installed properly.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so that's probably what I would get.
And that can
take a picture of
maybe
it.
popped right back in. It's
Yeah,
not
they can probably pop right back in, but you know.
it could be fastened in that place
Yep.
too. So
Yeah, but it is very high up. You know, it's up to the homeowner if they
Yeah.
want to climb up there to do it or hire a handyman to do it. But someone want to do it.
Yeah.
It's sometimes like these are maybe a very small thing to fix, and to prevent a big. You know, if water does get in through that damaged siding,
Right.
that can cause major problem down the road.
That's right.
So right now it could be a very small fix.
yeah,
So,
yeah. And as a home inspector, it's difficult to communicate that.
Yeah.
This is not a big. You're not
Yeah.
waving your red flag all over the place. This isn't a major material defect.
Yeah.
No one's going to get hurt
No.
on that thing, but it's a small thing that needs to be adjusted.
We're here to just kind of point out maybe early on issues.
Yeah.
And hopefully is early on issues.
Yeah.
And someone take care of it, and you can prevent a big ticket like, you know, repair. So for instance, for this, if the water intrusion happened and you have rotted wall sheathing
Yeah.
behind it, you have moisture going in, you
Yeah.
have your ceiling, you have
Yeah.
MOLD, we don't like to say that
Yep.
word, fungi growth.
Yep.
We call them a fungi growth. We don't like to use the word mold, but fungi growth can happen
Yep.
if there's any water intrusion.
Just
So
from a little thing.
from a little thing like this.
A piece
Yep.
of siding that's
Absolutely.
off
Absolutely.
alignment,
So-
and you saw that from far away.
Yep, from far away.
Well, anything else you see?
Right now from the far away picture, I don't see anything.
Okay.
The roof, I will check the roof as well. I know I did the drone, but
Yep.
from the ground up, I can see the level of how the roof, are there any left the shingle? I've also checked it. It looks good too.
Cool.
So I usually like to start from left corner all the way around the house. That's my routine.
Yeah.
So
you have a pattern.
Yep, the pattern. It's whichever. Some of the inspector, they like to go the different direction.
Yep.
All
right.
So this house have two different type of cladding. We have vinyl siding, and then we also have a culture stone.
Yeah.
Culture stone, they usually how they install. I always want to check and make sure the mortars are sealed. Water can't get into it. You don't want to have any exposed opening because water get behind it. Same thing. Your clothes have a hole. You're going to get wet.
That's right.
Right. So we want to make sure that, and then we also want to make sure the weep screeds are there, like a weep system. So this is for moisture to release. If there's any moisture happen to get behind it, they can release the moisture from the bottom. That's part of the installation system. We want to make sure we have that. We want to make sure our downspouts are good.
And diverting that water away.
Love this extender. I've been telling people, number one enemy for your foundation is your downspouts. If you don't extend out, you keep having water dumping in this corner. We're in North Carolina, we have these red clay. When red clay is wet and dry, the weight of support is very different. And if you constantly have water dumping in it and the soil gets soft, this corner, the weight will hold significantly less than other places. Then you're gonna have a differential settlement. When you have a differential settlement, you start having cracks. You start having foundation failure. This piece probably about $10 to save you a headache. And why don't we $10 times 5, maybe 50 bucks?
That's right.
To save you a $50,000 foundation failure
caused by water.
Caused by water. Number one enemy.
So. Water management.
Absolutely. So I like that, and just make sure it's secure. All the lighting, around the lighting, you want to have caulking around it. We'll kind of look at the driveway as well, walkway, the concrete pad, they're not uplifting.
Driveways and sidewalks should not be pointing towards the house.
Absolutely. You want to water rain away. Even though the garage slab, they have slight slant from the back to the front as well.
Everything's trying to get water away like from the flashing that you were talking about on the roof, to the gutters, to the downspouts, to the siding. Everything's trying to divert water away from the house.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's an outlet. Outlets, so we have an outlet tester that also tests the GFCI to kind of create a scenario that there are any electricity spike and would it trip. So we're gonna trip that because currently all exterior and garage and anywhere near water, they need to have GFCI protected outlet.
And this prevents you from getting shocked.
Exactly, it's a safety protocol.
So that's live?
That's live. So once I press the trip, you can hear the click. So that's, now it cuts off, there's no power to it.
And to reset it.
You just reset it and just make sure to reset it back. And then now I test it again, it's live again. So
every homeowner should know how to do that.
Absolutely.
That's a safety device that can be used.
Absolutely. So we want to look at the exterior. Weather stripping, all that looks good.
And this is wood here with vinyl.
Wood. So there's a trim board. Those are the trim board. You look at the wood rod and you look at the caulking and just make sure it's sealed properly. On the top of the window, some of them they have the Z flashing. The Z flashing is also preventing water get in. So the number one goal for siding is preventing water to get in. Same thing with the roof. So.
And the grading, the slope of the ground.
Slope away from the house, and you don't want to have any water ponding issues. Like on the grading, I do check and there's any. This week we have a lot of rain, so it was a lot easier for us to kind of see if there's any water ponding issues. Because you don't want, same thing like a downspouts, you don't want to constantly have water next to a foundation. Because it can cause foundation failure. So we'll check out the insulation foam board on the foundation. This is not actually your foundation slab. This is actually an insulation, kind of protect the foundation slab.
So there's a foundation, the load-bearing part of the foundation, and then this is insulation that's attached to the outside. Just kind of
protecting it.
And it needs to be coated and protected, like to make it look nice also.
It's like more cosmetic, but the insulation actually protect the slab edge.
It sounds different. Like it doesn't sound like concrete.
It's like a star foam. Star foam. We want to look at the soffit and the fascia.
Yep.
And make sure there's no hole. And I also test the water pressure for my client as well too.
Oh, yeah.
To make sure. So I have this little device.
And what are you looking for? What kind of
I'm looking
readings?
for the PSI, the pound per square inches.
Yep.
Yep. And we want to make sure they stay in between 40 to 80 PSI.
And that's perfect.
Yep. So it's right at 60. So it's perfect. If it's too high of a pressure, it can cause stress in the water system, water line system, and it can cause like water
drips, leaks.
Yep, leaks and pipe bursts.
In some houses with inadequate pressure, the shower doesn't seem to be running well.
Yep.
And not enough water at
if
the
it's
fixtures.
not, too low of a pressure, you don't want to take a shower with low water pressure.
Yeah.
You'll get very pissed off.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you comment on the condition of the grass? Is that part of a home inspection?
No, I don't typically, unless like it's really bad. If it was a giant hole on the backyard that can cause safety. Then I will put that on the report. If the grass is dead or there was a lot of weed on it, on it, we don't put that on the report.
So there's some things that you inspect and some things you don't. Landscaping, you really don't inspect it unless it's causing a problem.
Exactly. Unless I felt like there was a concern of a safety, a tripping concern, then I would probably, I will put that on the report.
Yeah.
So on the back side, we have the screen porch, lighting, and then we also have an HVAC system. So same thing, I step back and look at it.
I see some vents at the soffit area.
Yep, on the soffit area, they are the bathroom vents.
Bathroom.
Yep, they're typically bathroom vents, and they have to pull the moisture out from the bathroom to the exterior.
I remember the dryer is on the second floor,
Yep.
so the dryer vent can't have a screen.
No, they
like
can't
that
have a screen.
one.
Yep.
The bathroom can have a screen, but a dryer
Bathroom
vent
can have a screen, and the dryer, you don't want to have a screen.
I bet it's one of those. We'll get to it.
Yep. So.
And what's this?
This is your outdoor condenser unit for your HVAC system.
Yep.
Your HVAC consists with two parts. You have the outdoor unit, and then we're gonna see that later. We have a evaporator, which is an air handler, furnace, what some people like to call a furnace. So.
And this is a shut-off disconnect?
That's a shut-off, yep. You want to make sure there's a shut-off for your unit, and you also want to make sure that there is a service outlet nearby of the major.
A plug for the service person.
Yep. And then also make sure they're GFCI and powered.
Okay. And the refrigerant lines, they connect the two components that you were talking about, the outdoor and the indoor.
Yep.
And it should be insulated.
Yep, should be insulated. They do have the suction line. Yeah, they
suction line's insulated. Liquid line has a filter on it.
Yep, absolutely.
And you want to make sure that there isn't any damage.
Yep,
to the copper
make sure
lines.
there's no damage, no rust and corrosion.
This is nice here.
Yeah.
That's a nice hood.
They're protecting
Usually it's just a hole and they put a lot of foam in there.
Yep, just preventing water intrusion.
Yeah.
That type of kind of consider it flashing. So because you're drilling a hole on the wall, you want to make sure you flash it correctly.
Yeah.
Same thing, water can get into
Yep.
it.
So it's just like on the roof, there's a piece of flashing that protects.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a good, nice feature that the contractor used.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like nowadays, like they have a lot of more material. Just use that to the best protection for that.
Yep.
Yeah, they're very nice. So.
And this is on a base?
Yep, it's on a base, and we want to make sure they're level. I usually have a leveler. Just kind of put that on there and make sure they're close to right on. So, and then and another thing that I always tell my homeowner, these are maintenance too, make sure there's no vegetation around it, because you need to have a good proper airflow.
A lot of airflow.
For your HVAC function properly.
Yeah.
And now there are a lot of home HOA require them to hide this unit, and they plant a lot of plants around it.
Yeah.
And these plants, after 2 years, it might overgrown. So homeowners should trim it down, make sure maintain it, and maintain about like 1 to 2 foot clearance around it so the airflow can get into it.
Got it.
So.
And there's a label there. Do you take pictures of the label for your clients?
Absolutely, yeah. So this is the data sheets, and we usually take a picture of it. It's got your manufacturer model number, serial number, and there are a lot of information that can tell you like what is the tonnage of the unit, what is the age of the unit, and then also tell you like what is your maximum amperage breaker size need to be. So,
yep. And you'll check those,
and
we'll turn it on during the inspection.
Absolutely.
What do you see on this side?
I see a couple window, and we have the big vent. That's the kitchen vent.
Okay.
The other one I believe that's the first floor bathroom.
Okay.
That one has a screen on it.
Yeah.
I believe the dryer one is on the back side of the
roof.
Of the roof.
Yeah.
So when we get to the attic, we'll see the flue.
Yep.
And we'll be able to see that.
Got it.
Yep.
I noticed they stopped the insulation.
Yes.
So the house foundation is insulated, but the garage.
The garage, they don't insulate it
Yeah.
because they consider unconditioned space.
Yeah.
So they don't insulate them.
So it's not a defect.
Yep, it's not a defect, but they just typically don't do them.
And what do you have here?
So we have the gas meter, we have the bonding wire. You want to bond the gas service to your electrical panel.
Yep.
For safety.
Yep.
Any electricity surge or anything like that, it can go right back to, happen to the gas meter. It'll go right back to the service and go back to the utility company.
So this is important. Don't cut this.
Don't cut them.
No.
Yep, don't cut them. They want to make sure you clamp them.
Yep.
Correct.
And then
nice
this
and tight.
is not a bonding wire.
Nope,
This is
a trace wire.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that it's a bonding wire. Actually, there was a client that did that for my client.
Yeah.
And a year later, when we did the warranty, and we found out they put a clamp right here.
Right here.
And I'm like,
they don't need it. No.
That was not correct. So yeah, the trace wire is, if you say call 411.
Yep.
So call 411 is, they have a personnel from the gas company. They trace it. They put paint all over your yard before you dig.
Yep.
So they give you a line where the gas line is. So when you go digging, you don't want to dig in those areas. So that's a trace wire.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now gas meters for me, they're about this big. They're as big as a pumpkin. This is a modern.
They're newer digital style of
that's nice.
Meter now. They in our area we start seeing this a lot more often for new construction. So yep.
You don't inspect cable or TV?
No, low voltage, we don't inspect any TV, internet, and all that, but we know it's there. We take a picture and let the client know about it.
And
then
this
we
is
have
the
the
meter.
electrical meter. Yep. And you can see, electrical meter, you have a copper wire, usually they go into the ground.
Yeah.
When they do something like this, that means that you have a UFER.
Yep.
A UFER is an opening that they can ground the electrical system to the rebar. A rebar is all your connection point between your seal plate, your framing, and connect it to the foundation.
Yeah.
So they can ground it to the rebar, and it's a different way for grounding.
Really great.
So we're gonna see that. We're probably gonna pop that open and make sure that grounding wire is connected to the rebar.
Yeah, all these little wires that seem to be disconnected, they're doing their job.
They're doing
just
their
being
job.
right there.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, now we finish exterior.
Yep. And
Go
here's
right
where we
into
started.
Ended where we started.
Okay, so no real big defects at all.
No.
Just that little siding right above our heads.
Yeah, right above the head, we can see something. Yep. But it's a pretty good condition home.
And I think you said the word water about 100 times. So on the exterior with the roof and the exterior inspection, it's all about water.
Yep.
Really.
Absolutely.
There's a big focus on water, getting that water away from the house.
Absolutely.
And there's little keys that every homeowner should be paying attention to.
Absolutely.
To manage that water.
Yep. Because buying a house, beside water inspection, you're owning a home. Maintaining a home is also a homeowner responsibility.
Yeah.
Just need to know where they should maintain, what to look out for.
You seem to be an educator as well. Are all home inspectors educators, you
I think we should.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we need to. We're not a pass and fail. This is not a pass and fail
No.
test. This is a educational piece for all homeowner.
Yeah.
And they should know how to maintain their house.
Yeah.
Nothing gonna stay forever perfectly.
Yep.
And you have to know how to maintain the house and prevent all the big, issues down the road.
So what's next?
All right, we're gonna head to the garage.
Okay.
We're gonna check out the garage, the slab.
Yeah,
This
what do
is
you
nice.
do?
They paint it.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yep, this is not epoxy, but they paint it and make it look neat. And we'll want to make sure the garage door opener right here.
Okay.
And we do usually test them.
Okay. How do you test them?
So we press it,
Yep.
close it. We want to test the sensor,
Yep.
and we trip them. And
So there's a laser beam going
They're
across.
laser beam, yep. So make sure they reverse. So it's for child safety. So if it's, or any person, while the garage door closing, they didn't realize it, and they walk out of there, they don't want to have the garage door come down on them.
Yeah.
So with the sensor working, and when they walk by, it'll trip that sensor, the door can come back
It's
up.
the largest moving piece in the home.
Exactly, it's
Yeah.
very dangerous. So we also test another thing called a resistant test.
Okay.
So we're gonna close it again.
Oh, let's switch. I'll hit the button, you do that.
Sure, absolutely.
And maybe do it from the outside
Okay.
so that everyone can see what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Ready?
Yep. So when the door comes down, we want to put some resistant on it. And then when I put resistant, it'll go right back up. So that's a resistant test.
Yeah. So if something was straddling the laser beam,
yep, absolutely.
it would hit it and bounce back.
So if the laser beam fail,
yeah,
you still have the second one,
yeah,
to protect you.
Very
so
good.
there are a lot of protection from the for the homeowner if the garage door come down. So
and if the power goes out,
yep, and we have a latch,
yeah,
so you can unlatch this and then you can manually open and close this.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So when the power goes out, you can just unlatch this and it'll just go right down.
All right.
Yep.
And it stays up. That's nice.
It stays. Yeah. It
doesn't
stays
fall.
Up. Yep. It doesn't fall on someone, and then it just stay up.
Yep. And the garage door opener, the machine itself, it's like installed really well.
Yep.
Got
it's
these
mounted.
metal braces.
Yep.
Sometimes they're installed by the homeowner, and they're using string and duct tape.
Extension cord.
Yeah, there should be no extension cord.
There should be no extension
That's
cord.
a dedicated receptacle for
Absolutely.
the operator. Yeah.
Yep. So make sure there's no extension cord to hook up to.
And you're listening to the garage door as it moves.
Absolutely.
Looking at the wheels, the tracking.
Yeah. Make sure they're not like, they're closing and opening smoothly.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I do pay attention to.
Yep. Okay. So it looks really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
What else?
So you make sure outlets, and same thing, GFCI, we'll trip them, and just to make sure everything's okay. And then we also have,
I'll reset it.
Right there, thank you. And then we also have a 240 right now, electrical vehicle is very popular.
Yeah.
This is for your electrical
That's not for your dryer.
It's not for your dryer usually, because there's no, there's no dryer. You shouldn't.
This ain't a laundry room.
Nope.
It's a garage.
Laundry room. So we want to make sure they wire correctly for a 240.
Yeah. So if you have an electric car, you can use that.
You can use that to plug that in. Yep.
And you're testing what?
I'm testing the wire, make sure they're 240.
Yeah. So there's two lines.
Yep. So
that are
like my
120
device told me that this is a 240.
Yep.
And it's live.
Yeah.
And there's power to it.
And when it's 240 volt, that's a lot of juice.
A lot of juice.
And
Yep.
That's
a lot more power. Technically, you can charge a car with this, but it will take a lot longer.
Take forever. Yeah.
But this will take you a lot shorter time.
That's why they
and
look
need
different.
More power. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, and then we'll come this way and look at the outlet door, and then we have the water heater.
Yep.
So this is a electric water heater. Key thing that you can see, determine if this is a gas or electric. Number one, you can make sure there's no gas line coming in.
Right.
And number two, there's no venting.
Yeah.
So electric, you don't have venting for electric water heater.
Yep.
So we want to check the water heater condition, make sure there's no rust or anything like that. And then on top, there's a thermal expansion tank.
That's that pumpkin.
That's
garbage
pumpkin
bag
wrap.
thing.
Yeah, that's just insulation around it.
Yeah.
So what it looked like usually is like a blue tank.
Yep.
And they're half full.
Yep.
Typically, they're not filled with water.
Yep.
It's allowed the water, hot water, to expand to that tank if the water got too hot.
Right.
Because once the water, when it heat above 220 or something like that, so it'll expand.
Yeah.
But if there's no room for the hot water to expand, it can cause pipe bursts.
Right.
So we want to make sure that all the houses have closed system, meaning that you have public water. They're closed system because
So it comes in.
it comes in
and through a check valve.
Yep.
And when the hot water tank turns on, it needs to expand and it can't go
absolutely
out
Go
to the
back
street
out.
again.
Yep, because the closed
That little pumpkin
it'll
goes up and
just
down.
Give it the room to go. The water can expand into
Yeah,
it.
I
So
get
it's a good safety feature to protect the water supply pipe.
Now, if there's too much pressure in the tank, let's say that thing failed and there's pressure in the tank, what happens?
So we have the TRV, which is a temperature relief valve.
Yeah.
That is when the hot water tank is too hot, has too much pressure, that valve will automatically open.
Yeah.
And they will release the pressure, which is hot water, down to this pipe.
So if you see water coming out of there, that's no good.
That is no good. That means your water pressure inside a tank
Something
is
wrong.
Yeah. Someone had told me that this is essentially a water heater is a ticket bomb.
It is. There's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure. So this is very important to make sure that there's a TRV, a work functional TRV valve.
That's a safety device.
Yep, to release the pressure.
Yep.
But yeah, like you said, if there is water coming out of that, someone need to check it out, evaluate by a qualified plumber.
So you've checked the pressure twice. On a gauge on the outside.
Absolutely.
It was in good range.
Absolutely.
It wasn't too high.
Nope.
If it was too high, you said it would be leaking or something, and it could be leaking there.
Too. Yep.
Yeah, but we don't have that here.
Yep,
we don't have any indications of problems.
Nope. So.
And this is pretty dry here.
There's pretty dry.
No watermarks at all.
If the water heater was in the attic, then you need a drain pan.
Yeah.
But if it's not, and then we're in an unconditioned space, a drain pan is not necessary.
Okay.
And another thing that I wanted to make sure, some of the houses in the garage, they don't have a build out like this to protect the water heater from vehicle.
Yeah.
So if the water tank, it doesn't have a build out like this and it's just sitting in the corner of the garage, you should have a protective post.
Right.
And if you back up the car, you don't want to run into it.
Right, you hit the post instead of the tank.
You don't want to hit something that would high pressure.
Yeah, and all that water just comes out.
Absolutely. So, but right now there's a build out, so it's protected from vehicle coming in, so we good.
It says main cutoff. This must be the main water shutoff valve.
This must be, this is the main water shutoff.
Every homeowner should know where this is.
Absolutely.
In case there's a leak upstairs, you run down here, turn this off.
Turn it off, and then prevent more damage.
Yeah.
And then now newer home, they have these hose bit cut off.
Yeah.
People call it like winterizing your exterior faucet, so your cold weather, your pipe won't get freeze. So you can cut this off and just terminate all the
in the wintertime.
In the wintertime, all the outside hose bit.
Yeah, unless you're in San Diego, it's always 78 degrees in San Diego.
I know.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we're not in San Diego.
No.
I wish, right? So we have the electrical panel.
Okay.
And we're gonna check. And home inspector, we are required to open the deck front. So a lot of times, this is a vacant home. This is nice. There's no furniture. But a lot of homeowners, they store stuff in the garage. They might block it. So when we do the inspection, make sure we let them know that we're coming. We have to make sure it's clear.
Give the inspector some room to be safe.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we're gonna open it up and check all the wire inside. So we open up the panel.
Okay.
I have these
brilliant.
magnet little wrists, so I'll just
that's fantastic. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that idea? That's really good.
I just like to have a hand free, because like this is very, very dangerous by opening this, and you want to make sure you have all hands on it.
Right.
And if you are taking off the screw and then you have trying to put it in your pocket and all that, it can
and put it in your mouth.
Yeah, and put you in a dangerous situation. Yeah. So all you have to do is just turn it on.
Yep.
Magnetize it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
In North Carolina, are you required or not required to remove the dead front?
We're required to open up the deck front just to look when it's readily accessible.
Yeah.
So
homeowners should never do this.
Nope. This is
don't ever stick your
we're
finger
trained
in there.
professionals, so we need to have a trained professional to do all that. We're on check
Yep.
the wire, and even though for us we don't touch anything in there, we're observing.
Yeah.
We use a flashlight and that's it. And you can pretty much see it. This is actually very, very neat.
I was going to say that. This is fantastic.
I know. They label
They
everything.
even labeled.
Yep, they label everything. All the wires in the corner.
I mean, look at the grounds coming in.
Yep,
I mean, it's
absolutely.
just ridiculously
all the ground
neat.
wire, all the neutral wire, they tied them together. This is actually a really, really good electrical panel.
Okay. What you looking for?
So I'll look at the SEC, which is the service entry conductor.
Yep.
Coming in, you have the 2-lug and you have a breaker for your main breaker.
We saw the meter on the outside.
Yep.
So the meter on the
That
outside
come
of the
right
wall is
out
coming
here.
in
Yep.
with these
And then
wires.
Yep.
And it goes into a main disconnect.
Absolutely.
This is for the homeowner.
For the homeowner.
An emergency.
Yep, same thing.
Boom.
Everybody should know where to shut off the whole house electricity.
Yep.
And
the water shut-off valve.
And the water.
Yeah,
So
and
3 things. It's always on our report.
Yep.
We have a main shut-off section. We put the location.
That's
we
nice.
put a picture where it is.
Yeah.
And for the homeowner to know.
Yep.
So we want to make sure all the wire, the gauges are good.
Yep.
Usually I have a gauge, but typically I use a naked eye to kind of compare 20 amps to 15 amps.
You're saying gauge. That's the
Gauge
size of the
size
wire.
of the wire. Yep, correct. The gauge, the size of the wire, just to make sure, because if you have a too small of the wire for the breaker not sized correctly, then your wire is not protected. The number one thing for the breaker to present is protect the wire. If the wire overheat and the breaker sense it'll trip and turn off, cut off the service, that won't cause any more damage.
So they're related to each other.
Absolutely.
The size of the breaker can't be too big for the size of the wire.
Yep.
They have to be, there is a relationship
Yep.
there.
Each sizing of the wire, they should use a particular specific size of the breaker.
And if it isn't, you could probably see that with some scorching, melting.
Absolutely. And then also like double tapping.
Yeah.
You know, some homeowner, they like to put 2 wires into 1 breaker.
Right.
Some breakers are not allowed. Some breakers do.
Right.
They have to be specifically say it.
Yep.
It will list it on there.
Yeah.
If it is a double pole or you got all the information on the breaker
Yep.
and what it's supposed to.
Yep.
So we have some aluminum wiring. We also have some copper wiring. So those are typical conductor materials.
Yep.
And then also we want to see the green screw. The green screw is a bonding screw.
Yep.
The bonding screw is the main panel, which is the first panel that going into the house. The ground and neutral, they need to be bonded together.
Yeah.
Anything after, if you have a sub panel, they need to be isolated.
Yeah. Here's where everything comes together.
Absolutely.
With that big screw.
Unless you have a separate panel in a detached building, then you'll need to have the panel, even though that one is a sub panel,
Yeah.
it still need to act, but that one need to act like a main panel. They need to bond together.
Sometimes these details are missing. Electrician or the contractor just didn't do it for some reason, and you may be the next professional to see that mistake and get it fixed.
Yep, absolutely. So
it's a hidden defect.
Yeah, that nobody would know.
Yeah, a homeowner would never experience anything unless there's something wrong with some kind of grounding path, maybe a lightning strike or something.
Absolutely.
And then the electrician would be like, well, let's take a look at the panel.
Absolutely.
So it's good to get even a new panel inspected.
For a home inspector, we know a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yep. So I'm looking around, I see a little hairline crack. Usually when I see crack on the foundation, I kind of put my finger through it and make sure there's no deflection. And we kind of measure the size. If the crack is more than 1/4 inch or showing any deflection, that means the foundation has some movement. Then we'll want to refer to a structural engineer to review it. But this crack is very small, it's hairline crack. I'm not too concerned about it. I would just recommend the homeowner to monitor it. If that crack has ever changed, getting wider or showing deflection, then refer to a structural engineer.
I see another crack in the groove. Yep. And this is a control.
This is a control crack because concrete will expand and contract. So they lay concrete, they will put a control crack for the concrete to expand and contract.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, the concrete will just crack all over the place.
2 types of concrete.
Absolutely.
Concrete that is cracked and concrete that will crack.
Absolutely.
That's right. And this is controlling those cracks because we know it's going to control.
Absolutely.
So hairline, foundation wall, just monitor that.
Yep.
And these are normal.
They're
cracks.
normal. They're
in
designed
control.
to be that way. Yep.
Yep.
And then we look up.
What is that there?
Looks like there was a patch that they have fixed. So when we see a patch in the ceiling, as a home inspector, you always should have raised question in your head. It's like, why did they repair it?
Yeah. Maybe the seller's disclosure said something, but maybe not.
Yep, maybe. And ceiling, a lot of time that they have these water leak, water damage. So we have this moisture meter.
I have my moisture meter.
Oh, I have mine too.
Mine it has 2 probes.
Okay.
Yeah, and it gives me an audible and visual thing.
Nice.
It's not fancy like yours. I don't care about numbers.
Okay.
The problem with mine is it puts little holes if you push too hard.
Yep.
But if I'm like concerned about an area, like, no, I don't see, my thing doesn't register anything. So it's, I would say this is no visible moisture indications.
Okay. So we're in the kitchen bin. We're gonna do the kitchen appliances and the plumbing.
Okay.
So we usually...
What do you do first?
Yeah, I usually let the sink run. So I like to fill up all the sink to the highest as possible and drain it all at once.
Yeah.
See if there's any leak, and see if there's one happen. So I let it run.
I see that the dishwasher's not leaking.
No, it's not.
So we turned it on initially. Remember our initial walkthrough?
Yep.
Perfectly dry.
Yep, perfectly dry.
Awesome.
And then run through a cycle.
Yeah.
We don't check the the soap dispenser and make sure it's working properly. We have a language in our report. We just make sure the unit is not leaking.
Yeah.
So
okay.
And then we have microwave. I have a nice tool from Inanachi.
Oh, yeah? What do you got?
That is a microwave tester.
Yeah.
So if there's the microwave's working properly, the light will turn on.
Okay.
And it's a very nice tool. I don't have to use the tissue paper anymore.
Right. Not cooking hot dogs or anything.
I know. So
that's it.
That's it. So it lights up.
Yep.
And then
perfect.
Functioning correctly. And the next thing we want to make sure The stove is working.
Okay. I'll help out.
Thank you.
Let's see.
You gotta push it in.
Yeah.
There we go. So we want to make sure
It turns on.
Yep.
How do you do the oven?
The oven, we have before we do the oven, we always make sure there's no paper in there.
Yeah, sometimes people store stuff in there.
Yep, well, new construction, they have a lot of the warranty cards in there.
Yeah, right.
They leave them in there. So we want to make sure there's no paper, no plastic
Okay.
before you turn it on.
Yep.
So there's none for this. You just hit bake, start, and then just start that. And then we'll come back to it in about a couple minutes and do a temperature check. And then another thing that I always check is the anti-tilt bracket.
Yeah.
So it's a child safety. A lot of small children, they like to move this down and climb using the door to climb on it. Once they stand on it, the weight gonna flip that over.
Right.
Having the anti-tilt bracket, it will hold that in place.
Yeah.
And it won't flip over on top of it.
It's an inexpensive device that holds that.
Absolutely. So for me, I just usually pull it back.
Yeah.
And this is nice and tight.
Yeah.
So the anti-tilt bracket is great.
Great.
Yep.
You got the surface light.
Yep. We got a surface
fan?
light with a fan, and
Where do you think that goes?
open it up.
Nice.
There we go. It's going to that. And then we did see the left exterior. That's why I like to do the exterior first and know what you get into. We did see the kitchen ventilator.
Right outside.
So that is right outside.
Yeah.
So that's what connected to it.
Yep.
And they also have different way. It's you can recirculating. So the air kind of sucked in here and blow it right out here.
Right.
So there are two different way
Yeah.
to do it, but you should have either one
Okay.
in the kitchen. So we'll open up these cabinet just to make sure you see the screw right here. They're all flush, secure properly.
Yeah. The fastening.
Yep, fastening. I usually put a little weight on it just to make sure there's nothing move and kind of see if any signs of displacement.
Yep.
That's the wall cabinet, and then the drawer. We want to make sure we open them. They have these nice little extended drawer. We want to pull that out and just kind of check it out.
I see the oven starting to kick on there.
Yep. And then we're gonna also test out the garbage disposal as well too. And you're gonna hear that. It's
sounds good.
Clingy. Yeah, there's no debris in it.
And there's no water leaks.
There's no. Yep, I didn't see any water leak down here. And I'll turn on the hot water and just kind of make sure
Right.
it's got hot water for every faucet as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the counter.
Yep, the counter. Make sure there's no crack condition. And when it's overhang like this, there's moving it, you see. And then when it's overhang like this, we want to have it see the bracing as well too.
Yeah.
Kind of give it a support.
And I see receptacles here and there.
So we have a receptacle and we're going to check it. And anytime in the kitchen area, the receptacle should be GFCI.
Yep.
Let me turn this off.
Sure. And that's that safety device. It
that's a
should
safety.
turn off the electricity.
Yep, there you go.
Oh, did it turn it off?
Did it turn off?
Let me see.
See? Yep. So there's no power now.
Okay.
Yep. So it tripped off.
Okay.
And we'll reset it back here.
So I have a reset button over here. You have one over there.
Yep. You have a two line, typically kitchen have two sets of wire going in.
Yep.
So they are in a different circuit.
And what are you using there?
We're using the temperature surface check and see what the temperature in the oven. Right now it's 335 degrees. So that means it's oven's
perfect.
working. And then after that, make sure you turn it off. I like to take a picture of it typically.
Oh, okay.
Yep, just to remind myself. Yep.
And the floor looks pretty good?
The floor looks great. And I usually use a flashlight because sometimes naked eye is kind of hard to see, but use a flashlight, you can see any deficiency or any leak if possible.
And you're holding it at an angle so you can see.
So I can see it.
Imperfections.
Absolutely. Or staining.
Stains.
Yep, stains. You can spot the stains.
That's a good tip. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's go to upstairs. We check out the bathroom.
Sounds good.
All right. All right. So we're in a master bathroom, and when we get inside, we want to make sure there's a shower enclosure. Before I turn it on, I usually step in here and try to make sure all the caulking are sealed around the door, because you don't want water when you're taking a shower. You don't want the water to get out of here. I can see they're missing the caulking here. They didn't put caulks around this base. I would suggest the homeowner to get that caulk on there because you don't want water to get out. After that, we want to make sure the grouts are fully sealed. The bench is pitch away so water can't sit on here. for long term and just wear out the grout and then cause water intrusion. And then you have a drain pan. You can kind of walk around the drain pan, make sure the supports are good. And after that, I turn the water on and just let it run for a little bit, and we'll come back to it. And then secondly, we'll look at the sink. You want to check both the cold water and the hot water. And then at the same time, this is the one thing that I see recently. This is an undermount sink. So an undermount sink, they typically have 2 clips on it to support the sink. And I just want to make sure there is one there to hold it together. And then I also look at the drawer. Now the cold water is good. I'm going to turn in the hot water. And then on the bathroom, we also have the toilet. We'll let it run for a little bit, and then we're going to check on the toilet and make sure they properly secure to the floor. Because if the toilet not secure to the floor, it can cause water leak every time you flush the toilet. By checking it, I usually put 2 legs and rock it back and forth and see if it'll move. If it doesn't move, and I'll just do a flush, and I'll see around the base and see if any water. But yeah, this is pretty much the bathroom. Yep, the hot water is great.
Any problems so far?
No, nothing. This is actually very clean. I did see the caulking on the door wasn't sealed properly.
Yep.
But those are minor things. They just had to put some sealant on it, just prevent water get out of the shower enclosure.
And the receptacles, they're protected by a ground fault?
So typically, the outlet, they are connected, all the bathroom in one circuit.
Yeah.
So once I trip, we'll have to find the reset. So now the outlet have no power to it.
Yeah, so there's a reset button. So if a homeowner thinks their receptacles are dead, you got to find that reset button.
Got to find the reset button. So, all right. So yeah, this is the bathroom, and then we also look at, make sure all the bathroom have a ventilation fan. Yep, it's working properly. Thank you, Ben. So technically, you can either have a fan or a operable window.
Yeah.
But as a homeowner, that's the code.
Yeah.
But as a home inspector, we would like to see a fan preferably.
Yeah.
Because who opens the window when they take a shower anyway,
right?
So I would like to see have a fan. That's a better solution than a window for sure.
Sure.
So, yep.
And we'll see that in the attic when we get to the attic.
Yep, we'll see that in the attic when we get to the attic. Now, and we'll make sure the water draining in the proper rate and they're not clogged up. We'll put more water into it so we can see if there is any leak on the first floor down the road in a little bit. So the hot water is great. So now we'll turn it off. And this is our bathroom inspection.
All right, great.
All right, so Ben, we're at the attic. That's the air handler. We did see a outdoor unit and a whole full HVAC system compartment with 2 separate systems. You have the outdoor, you have the indoor.
Yeah, the air conditioner, compressor,
and then
outside.
you have an evaporator.
Okay.
This is up here. That's where you see that suction line? That's where it go and connect it to it. We check it
Same line.
Suction line, yep. So one thing that we do, kind of put my hands over some joint and make sure there's no air leak. There's no air leak, because if it's an air leak, then your air conditioning air just leaked out in the attic and not going into your house.
Right.
And it's not running for efficiency.
And what are those pipes coming out of the evaporator?
So these are condensation. So your evaporator will create condensation. They will drain and then run it to the outside.
Okay.
So they will lead to the outside or the laundry room.
Yeah.
Usually the laundry drain box,
Yep.
they will have a drainage system for the HVAC condensation drain as well.
Okay.
So you have that. And then if the condensation ever got clogged up and water got catch on this pan, and that's no good. You need to call an HVAC contractor to come in and check the line, make sure that they're not clogged.
Yeah.
So if this ever catch, you have another safety too. This is called an overflow switch.
Yep.
So the overflow switch, if the water get to a certain level, it'll shut off the system. So as a home inspector, we do check that. This overflow switch, we pull it up. You can hear the unit running right now.
Yeah, right.
So you can hear.
That's right.
It shuts it off.
Yeah.
So if the water gets to a certain level in that pan, it'll shut off the unit and it won't produce any more condensation water coming out.
That's really
And just
neat.
to prevent this pan is overfilled.
So this is an air conditioning system.
Yep.
Has a component here, evaporator, and it makes condensate.
Absolutely.
Normally.
Normally.
This is not a leak.
No.
It's always,
It
every
is
air
normal.
conditioner does that.
Absolutely.
And it has to be, just like the outside, manage water. So
Yep.
it's draining through pipes
Yep.
that are insulated so they
Yep.
don't sweat.
They don't sweat.
And if there's a problem, we've got a couple things
Yep.
to keep the homeowner and the home healthy until
Absolutely.
somebody comes up here and says, hey,
Absolutely.
what's going on?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we also have the gas furnace.
Yeah.
That is your heating.
Yep.
And we can open this up.
Yeah. So this is a gas-fired unit.
Yep,
We
this is
saw
a
the
gas-
gas meter outside.
Yep.
Here's the line coming in.
Yep.
Shut-off valve.
Yep.
Sediment trap.
Yep.
That is installed properly.
Yep.
Just
You
in
wanna
case there's
be
some
after-
junk in the line. This
Absolutely.
catches it.
Yep.
And then it goes in here, and that's where the flames are.
Yep. So we have the inducing fan.
Yep.
For exhaust, so you can see the flue going above the roof.
And I remember
You wanna-
seeing that from the
Yep.
drone.
You have to exhaust to the and release it to the exterior.
Yep.
So that's what that for. And then we have the heat exchanger.
Yeah.
So that's the heating box. So a furnace, what they do is they heat up a box to a very high temperature, and then you have the fan blowing into that box
Yep.
and create hot air.
Yeah.
And distribute it to the house throughout.
Yeah, through the ducts.
Yep.
This is a return. It's going in
Going in, yep.
through
that.
into the fan.
And then to the fan, and then you have to supply and go into the box and supply.
Yeah,
to
so
everyone.
above our heads. Yeah.
Yep. Just
These
like
are the
go right here. Yep.
the supply.
Yep. So yeah,
ducts.
those two the return, and
Yep.
then this is the supply.
Interesting.
So you have the
Yeah.
fan. Yep. But yeah, everything looks good. What we look for is rust and corrosion around there. Today is very hot outside. We don't turn on the gas furnace.
Yeah.
But in the wintertime, we do turn it on and just kind of see the flame and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
But right now, we kind of look for any rust and corrosion around, and make sure there's no condensation kind of leak into it as well too.
And there's a gas. This is a gas unit. So if you smell something, that would
Absolutely.
be bad.
So we'll check for the gas leak and just to make sure there's no gas. Yeah.
Okay.
But right now, I'm not smelling
Yeah.
gas. Did you?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
Okay. Good. All right. Let's close this.
And this is in the attic.
Yep.
Now the furnace and the air conditioner, it's a system of ducts and
Yep.
moves air, forces
Yep.
air around, and it needs to be filtered.
Yep.
The filter isn't up here; it's somewhere down in the areas downstairs.
Yep.
Like
They
in the
usually
ceiling.
have one in the first floor, one
Yeah.
in the second floor. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
When we get down there.
Yep. I just heard it kick back on.
Yep, it kick back on. Yeah. Once there's detected no water, and it'll kick back on. We're in the attic. This is a truss system. Truss is engineer design roof framing.
Yeah.
They are assembled off-site, and then they transport it on-site and put it based on engineer recommendation.
Yeah.
Based on the engineering plan.
Yep.
So as a home inspector, we will look for any damages on the web. This is called the truss web. And then we have the gusset plate, which is the silver plates that
Yep.
you'll see, and make sure they are connecting the web together properly.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure there's no damage to it. And we also spot for repair that have been done before too. If there's any repair have been done for trusses, we'll recommend our client get the engineering letter, make sure that was engineer recommended repair.
Yeah.
And obtain any warranty if they have anything.
So this is an attic space, and there's
Yep.
some flooring here.
Absolutely.
Maybe it could be used for storage, but
Yep.
some homeowners, to make more storage, they may just like, oh, let's cut some of these boards. And you're saying you can't do that.
Can't do that. Yeah, you have to base on what engine. You can modify it, but you have to get through a engineer
Another
signed
engineer,
off
yeah.
to say like how you can modify these
Yeah.
truss systems.
Yep.
So yeah, as a homeowner, I would recommend just don't cut any
Yep.
of the roof trusses.
So you're looking for anything that's loose,
loose, damage,
and the plates have to
Yep,
be
has to plate together.
nothing rotten or
Yep.
anything like that. That's what you're
Nothing
looking
rotten.
for.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
And the white stuff is insulation.
There was an insulation. There was a blown-in insulation, and there's a meter. They usually put that there.
Yep.
And show you what is the R value or how many inches.
Like a measuring
how
stick.
thick? Yep, it's like a measuring stick.
Yeah.
And make sure they have enough for insulation, so you don't get too hot or too cold
Yeah.
in the interior during the summer and winter time.
What was really nice that the builder installed an elevated platform here.
Platform, yep, for
A lot
service area.
A lot of times I see as a home inspector, a lot of homeowners go up in the attic and they just throw stuff and they compress the insulation down to only a few inches. And that's
Once they compress, they lose the R value of it and they have no use.
Yeah.
So I would suggest not to put any storage on top of the insulation.
Keep
Just
it
let
fluffy like that.
Yep, keep it fluffy.
Yeah.
So, we did talk about the dryer.
Yeah.
You see this is a metal dryer vent.
What's that paint stuff on it?
So those are plaster.
Yeah.
They put it on there to seal and make sure all the air not leak outside of the flue.
Yeah.
And then you want to make sure the plaster around where the connection between the flue to the roof deck as well.
Yep.
Water intrusion.
Yeah.
We're talking about water again. So that's the water
So
intrusion.
that looks good.
Yeah, that looks great.
Straight shot, no bends.
No bends.
That's the best.
Yep, that's the best. They probably just come up the wall and then do a 45 degree and go straight to the exterior.
Cool.
Sure. All right.
So we did the furnace and air conditioning.
Yep.
And all the features, everything was looking good.
Absolutely.
Did the roof.
Yep.
Framing.
Trusses, framing, insulation.
Insulation.
Gas
and
line.
Looking for water leaks. And
Yep,
we'll see
looking for water
leaks.
leak. Yep, we was trying to spot and see any water leak, which
Okay.
I'm not seeing anything.
Cool. All right, let's go back down.
Let's go down there. All right, so we're doing the interior in a master bedroom. I usually have a pattern. As soon as I walk into the room, I take a right, and that's when I start checking the ceiling, floorboard, and then the floor covering. And then when I see the outlet, I check and make sure there's power to it. And then we want to make sure there's a smoke detector on all bedroom. And each floor, first floor and second floor, they also need to have a CO carbon monoxide detector as well too. That is required for safety concern. So we check all the outlets and we'll look at ceiling, look at floor, and look at the wall as well, and kind of look and see if there's any bulging or any uneven surface. And then when we come to the window, we'll make sure the window have no cracks on it, and then we'll open them and make sure they're operable. And then we want to test for the tilt feature and then lock. And then if the window is too low to the ground, we want to make sure there's child safety lock on each side to blocking the window go all the way up, because small children can open up the window and just crawl out if it's too short to the ground. And then we want to make sure this window as well. Make sure the window's great, no cracks. And then we'll keep moving. I like to take a little temperature and see if the temperature for AC is running. Right now I have a 54.1 degree temperature, which is meaning that the AC is running properly. And then we keep on going and we'll go into the closet. Same thing, wall, ceiling. And I want to make sure these shelvings are in good support as well, because homeowner can store a lot of heavy things on there. And if this is not having any good support, and it can drop and hurt somebody. Safety, safety, safety. And this is it. This is my interior inspection for all the rooms. We want to make sure there's filter in there and the filter is good shape. Pop that open. And the filter look a little dirty. Put that on the report and notify and let the homeowner know they should change it every month for a filter like this. If the system contain a whole house filter, they can last a little bit longer. Because they're usually bigger size. They're 4 or 5 inch thick. They last usually about 3-6 months, depends on the allergy in the family household. If they have a dog, you might want to change it more frequently. If people have more high allergy sensitivity, then they want to change it a little bit more often. But we want to make sure the filter in place. And this is our interior inspection. We're in the front hallway. We have 2 bedroom on one side, laundry room. And you can see this grill. A lot of homeowners ask me what they're for. This is actually for your HVAC's airflow. So air go into the room and can get out. And so you have a better airflow for your air circulating. That will make sure your room is the same temperature as the room out here, and the same temperature of the room out in the bathroom. You can also, without having the grill, some people, they think cosmetic wise, they don't look good having a grill. And you can also make sure underneath the door have a 2-inch gap, and that can be for the airflow. But these are actually the most efficient way to do the air circulating way. Having the door at the bottom of the door could be another way as well too. If the door doesn't have a good clearance, and that's when it happened when you turn the AC on, all your door just shut and you thought it was a ghost shutting the door. And that's actually the air circulation and sucking into it, and then close the door by itself.
So it seems like you, like all home inspectors, your job is to educate homeowners with valuable information that they can use, whether it's a real estate transaction or just trying to maintain their home.
Absolutely, absolutely. Maintenance and home inspection is very important too, because house can change, condition can change.
Yeah.
And having us to go inspect regularly at least once a year,
a good idea.
And just make sure there's no roof leak, make
Yeah.
sure there's no pipe burst,
Yeah.
make sure there's no water in your crawl space or slab, your foundation is not failing.
Yeah.
It is a very useful information. So.
And even if the home inspection report doesn't result in a bunch of defects, that's still really good, valuable information.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I
House with no
believe so.
problems is a really good piece of information.
Yes, absolutely. House with no problem, it's a great thing. But it's no problem now doesn't mean year down the road is the no problem can become a problem as well too. So having regular check, it's great.
Because we want to always keep our homes in good shape.
Absolutely.
There's no place like home.
Like no place like home.
That's right. I'm Ben from Internachi.
I'm Michael Szeto from No Place Like Home Inspection.
And we'll see you at the next inspection.